Hi there guys, welcome in. Good morning, good afternoon. Let's review big boy Bitcoin as he seems to be making some moves, some nice moves today. Let's see how far it can go. Let's jump straight into some data. Right, so first of all, I just want to pull up the main chart and just display the kind of range that we've got going on now. But what we will do is we'll do the usual thing. We're obviously going to look at the OBD. We're going to have a look at some ratios and see what's going on here. We've got the BTC Diamond from the lows here looking very nice, and we're just pushing up to the point of control of the range here. All right, so what we'll do is we'll have a look at volume, open interest. We'll go through the ratios on aggregated exchanges, and we're going to check out what is going on. New or old to the platform. If you've got any questions, just drop them in for us. If there's any assets we need to look at, just drop them in for us. And yeah, let's see what's going on. If you are new, where have you been? Grab a link from below in the description below. I will timestamp this live also for review back later. But if you are new, yep, grab a link from below and grab yourself a free trial for the best data around. All right. So yeah, basically just wanted to start here. This is my daily ratio chart. Okay. So basically I'm just looking at mainly looking at the open interest, funding rate. I've got LS ratio on here as well, and obviously our depth, and we are building a little bit of depth as we come down and form this range now. Okay, we've yeah, from the BTC Diamond we did actually come down and tap 650 million depth. If we think back to the really good one there the other week at 61k, that was actually well over $1 billion book depth. So looking pretty nice, I do like that. I think if you're executing some risk exposure in there, that was not a bad area to do it. I still would like a little bit lower. I can appreciate it may take a little bit of time, but if we do push up from here, there's a certain few things that we can look at to get confirmation if we are just going to push straight up. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of resistance I think we're probably going to find around here at that 67.5 to 68 level. Okay, certain areas of confluence we've got here, you know, a little bit of fib and stuff, but let's not do too much classic tier. What I did just want to point out is how the order book changes widget is still pretty stacked with people with offers to the top side. Okay, so yep, still in a strong trending market in general. All right, so 4 hour still looks good, daily looks good, weekly looks good. I think we can all appreciate that. But yeah, I think if we can still just nick a little bit lower, that would be nice, and that can take time. I'm kind of thinking the next 24, 48 hours. That is if we don't just push straight up. Okay, let's have a look. Let's go to the OBD first. All right, and let's drop down because I was just on a 4 hour there. So yeah, really nice push up. As you can see here, this was our last BTC Diamond. I believe there, all in that zone. I think literally all in that zone. I think there was a perps, all perps exchanges were bid. Obviously you had Coinbase were bid there, Binance Spot were bid there, and Binance Perps. So very valid if you were to get in there. I think it was a nice one to get in, even if it was just for a little bit more risk exposure here. My main concern there is, and these things can take time to play out obviously, is that we've hit we kind of filled some top levels here. I think these guys filled, I wasn't watching at the time, but our main top levels are still a little bit lower. So I think that would be really nice to come and fill some of that liquidity. And what we'll do is let's just go and have a look at some of the other exchanges on what they are doing. If we see here right at the minute, there's no follow-up bid as such right at this minute. The only thing that I would say is that you want to see for real confirmation, if we continue to push here, is you want these USDT levels to continue chasing price up, because if these guys and girls here are not getting a fill, they're going to have to go and fill price. All right, if they don't get a fill on price and we just hit a little bit of supply above, you're going to have to go and get that liquidity anyway. All right, so I would prefer to come and fill some of this liquidity, even if it was just down to like 63, 60 kind of 2 area. I think that'd be really nice. And there's a lot of confluence across exchanges there. So Binance Spot, not too much to talk about at the minute, but in the last 24 hours, yes, they have just started to bump up their USDT levels there. They've got one resting at 64k. Not a massive order as we can see, but these guys certainly didn't get filled down at the 61k as of yet. So yeah, they are pushing up a little bit. Bitfinex, I don't think there's too much edge on those books at the minute. They have been a little bit messy, to be honest. Slight bit of selling above there, just ready to do a little bit of selling, and they've got some limit orders there at 63 again. Bitstamp has been very messy at the minute. Coinbase, as we can see, so Coinbase were part of the BTC Diamond, black market diamond as we'll call it, pro there, but they were certainly bid there as well. So looking okay. But yeah, they've certainly got some levels lower, very, very similar to Binance Spot, as we can see there. All right, Kraken, nothing to show there on the USDT though. They look like they're trying to just chase up and follow up bid a little bit here. So it remains to be seen if we can reach up there. I do like the KuCoin chart as always. Nice to see that they're actually still defending 68k a little bit there. So it's certainly a zone to watch now, is that 60k, 68k supply zone. And just see if we can get a rotation back down. And again, you know, you can see the top levels down here, a little bit of confluence with Binance there at the 63, and some cheeky resting limit orders a lot lower down at 61. I think that'd be really, really nice. So yeah, it would be good. And just to highlight how clean and nice this KuCoin chart is, we can see that from our aggregated overlay here, which is showing in the white that we're in a supply zone. Okay, so this is 1 to 10%. Shows you in a supply zone, as we said from last week. On last week's live, we were basically in a supply zone. We were saying it's a nice area to take a little bit of leverage profit if you were in from those 61k levels from the demand to supply. Okay, so not talking about spot holds in particular, but just a nice area. And what I just wanted to highlight once again is how clean and how good the KuCoin chart is. So as other exchanges were in a supply zone here, it's nice to see that KuCoin actually, what we call kind of like capped the price there at that 71 level. So over the Easter weekend, we obviously moved up a little bit further. I have to say I would have liked to go a little bit higher there. I was looking for a little bit higher continuation, but you have to say without any follow through bid, you're not going to get it, you know, you're just not going to get it. Okay, so really, really nice. KuCoin capped the price there at 71. And then if you're watching price action here, nice drop, and then as we come back into demand, I think the top end of the demand that we did hit was like 870 billion, so a very valid demand zone. Higher time frames, I'm not going to get overly bearish and start to call this distribution or anything like that, when certainly you're still hitting these big demand areas. So you know, just to repeat, I won't go over it too much, but just to repeat, when we're at 38k and we started to trend hard, we hit over 1 billion aggregated depth, really, really nice. When we were back at 61k, we hit over 1 billion aggregated depth, and we're kind of getting up to those parameters again now, all right? So yeah, I'd still like lower, but I'm fully aware we could possibly just drop into more demand, grab some liquidity and rotate up. Okay, so that's the various exchanges. Not too much edge from those particularly now. One thing to say is, I'm not gonna have to refresh that, am I? Yeah, I'm gonna have to refresh it. Okay, so one thing to say as well is that on the on Binance Perps, as we can see here, again, they really lost the bid as we were in the supply zone, same as spot. Really, they really lost the bid. You don't want to see that if you're holding some kind of like leverage longs, really, to be honest, unless you know, holding from a lot lower. But you know, like I've mentioned before, and the guys will tell you in the social chats and stuff, if Binance Perps start to lose this depth, you're more than likely going to go rotate down and hit some lower liquidity. Okay, so really nice to see these guys come back in. At the time when this was coming down, was kind of still watching these levels around 63, 62k, some really dynamic resting limit orders around here. Nice to see. But yeah, fully committed back into the market now. Now, it doesn't mean we can't come down and go and test some of these guys. I don't know if any of these limit orders actually got filled. I'm not seeing any wicks down there in particular, but it's certainly nice to see. And again, it just gives you context when you see this. it's just, as I've said, it's indicative of a trending market. So really, really nice to see on a trending daily, weekly, and even a 4-hour market, you know, really, really good to see. They were capping price earlier on today a little bit there at 67.3. It looks like they've just pulled that order, so wouldn't surprise me to go and pop a little bit higher here on Bitcoin. Let's have a check of, let's load up volume quickly. Right, so let's have a look at volume. So mentioned in the video earlier, you can just see the trend line here is our meme triangle that I was talking about earlier. I don't think there's much edge in volume in particular. The only edge that you would have had if you were coming down here, and actually the BTC Diamond was down here at 64.5, I believe, okay? Not showing the overlay there at the minute, but 64.5 there, so no major edge. The only thing you've got to look out for is if you're on a lower time frame like this, is just look how, as we started to drop, the open interest was still very high, okay? So this was kind of like Easter weekend going into Monday. Open interest was sustainably still very high, with a cluster of high funding as well, okay? If you're familiar with this Volume King template, grab it in the socials and go and watch it on the YouTube channel, okay? Volume King, little tutorial there. So sustained high open interest, sustained funding, LS ratio high up there as well in those zones. What happens as we start to come down, buy the fucking dip is activated, and retail in red, 10k and under orders, they're just going crazy trying to buy this dip as we come down, which you don't really want to see. There wasn't a particular bull div from the bigger players here as we did come down, but the only thing to say is as we hit these lows was funding was almost fully reset and open interest was really coming down as well. Now I do like the fact that open interest has come down like this. If you're obviously looking at higher time frames, it's not going to be as settled. You know, we're talking about a 15-minute time frame, but it looks quite good. Let me just go to a 1 hour. You see, ideally what I would prefer for ultimate confirmation is of trend continuation would be to put in another low and create some 1 hour bull dips. Let's just go and have a look at the 1 hour chart then. So here we are. Bottom of our meme triangle right here where we got the BTC diamonds, and as you can see there was no particular bull div from volume, and open interest has not nuked as much as it did at the 61k level, okay? So if we just go and review that level, this is what I'm talking about here. So this was the last really good risk on long, I would say, from the other week that we've obviously seen by now. Reason being, really good bull divs from spot, from perp should I say, in blue, and from spot in green, and a really big nuke in open interest and really settled funding. So I think this is a very valid moved up, but for ultimate continuation I would like this just to rotate down again, you know, and then get some bull divs. You want to see these guys continue to be happy in their positions and defend these kind of low areas, the value area lows of the range, as maybe retail come down and start to short the market again, okay? Which obviously if the masses are shorting and the majority of people are shorting, it's just going to keep the funding down a little bit as well. Do we get that? Not too sure. We'll have to see. We get what the market gives. If we are going to get just continuation up, yeah, as I say, just look for them USDT levels to move up with the charts, or to move up with price, should I say. So give us, what we'll do is we'll do the usual. We'll go and have a look at ETH as well. I do want to have a look at liquidity on our Liquidity King template before we move on to ETH and some altcoins. I think there's some very interesting looking altcoins out there in the market, so we'll go and have a look at those as well. Give us a shout in the chat if there's any alts you need to look at, if there's been any good trade setups that you've had and have worked out well, if there's been any trade setups that have failed and have not gone so well. Give us a shout in the chat and we can go and review those. Similarly, if you are new to the platform, again, give us a shout in the chat if there's anything you need to know, and we can cover it as quickly as we can. All right, guys. So let me just drop back to let me just go and have a look at liquidity while I've got you guys on them. So I actually think perps liquidity is pretty chilled. The only thing we've got here is got quite a good rise in open interest, as we can see here again on the 1 hour chart. I'm just going to drop to a 4 hour because I do like the higher time frames when we're on this. Yeah, so I do I do like the fact that the perps liquidity is quite chilled. What we can see is at the top of the range here, spot liquidity was really, really high. So it's not something we want to see really when we want to get really, really risk on. We want all the liquidity in the books to be, you know, down lower here. Same with open interest, you know, liquidate some people, bring this open interest down. Once you get that, then, you know, you're zooming into your OBD and you're looking for bid and you're looking for a good execution on the trade, all right? But yeah, I think everything's looking pretty chilled, but yeah, I certainly think spot liquidity could come down a little bit lower again. It did get a good initial flush there where you got your BTC Diamond at those lows, but looking quite chilled. I'm not overly concerned, and I wouldn't get, you know, I certainly wouldn't get too bearish if this was just to come down again, you know, and wick down again and find some bid and float back up. Not in the absolute slightest. I think everything's still looking good, still looking orderly, and I still think we're in for a good year, to be honest. Right, let's dive into some of Vitalik's shitcoin. Is anyone trading ETH anymore? Please tell me if you are. I'm sure people are just holding it more than trading it. It's a pretty boring asset to trade, to be honest. You know, when you could just trade Bitcoin and put some size on Bitcoin, I don't know why you'd be particularly trading ETH at the minute. It's really, really doing similar stuff. Maybe it gets some ETF flows and some continuation soon, but at the minute, very boring. It'd be nice to see if it does take over. Let me know what you think. But you know, as usual, I do like to see everyone getting bearish on the ETH BTC charts as it's hitting ETH BTC demand. That's always nice to see. Thank you very much. Bitfinex have got some selling on ETH BTC. Not too much edge from those guys, though. It is a lot higher up. And oh, that was a nasty wick from Bitstamp Sirs on the ETH BTC. But yeah, I mean, really, it's kind of boring, really, isn't it? So yeah, not too much to see on ETH really, and it's funny because some of the opposite, you know, altcoins too, not opposite altcoins, but the coins that normally move well with ETH as well, like LDO and stuff, have been doing very similar things. They've really not been moving on their own merit. Right, so let's have a look. ETH's doing its own thing. There's a few altcoins I did want to look at with you guys. One of the main ones, I mean, there's what I'm basically seeing across the board is, and it's similar to Bitcoin, which is, you know, why this push, as I say, is very, very valid, but it's very tempting and juicy to see these top levels lower and these resting limit orders lower. So certainly don't chase candles if you didn't execute from the BTC Diamond. I wouldn't be chasing any candles, to be honest, especially if you're trading leverage. Just chill out a little bit. But what I've been, as I reviewed the markets earlier, some very, very nice setups, but I just don't think they're all quite getting the fills at the minute. One to watch as always, because it's got a very, very nice chart, and you can keep this very, very simple, but it's STX, obviously. You can trade this alongside Bitcoin, and you're probably going to get such larger percentages than you would do if you were just trading, say, ETH and Bitcoin together, for instance, because the chart on this is unbelievable. Aggregated OBD, supply zone, straight to demand, okay? Really, really nice charts on STX, and said it for a while that it's, you know, it's a really, really nice one to trade alongside BTC. Saw VET getting some supply early, which was interesting. Don't think these guys filled. They've just pulled now, but it looks like it's just teasing a little bit of supply a bit higher up. But nice to see that even coins, I'll call VET an old school coin now, you know, considering you've got some of the new race car coins in the market. But yeah, nice to see that VeChain VET is getting some really nice order flow on it as well now. Because a couple of months ago, you wouldn't have seen this on alts like VeChain. there were just no activity in the books, and what I mean by that is not a lot of people were trading it. And so as the market starts to ramp up and you get more activity in the books, you get really nice order flow like this and really nice overlays on the TRDR console. So really, really nice from VET. Keep an eye on that one, even if you're just day trading it, because it does look like it's moving well now. I mean, this just today, this is kind of like a, what percentage move have we got there? I didn't look at it actually. You know, just today you're getting a 5% print on your perps or derivatives portfolio just for a cheeky little move up. So really, really nice. Some of the other coins I was looking at, Sue, I thought is looking nice again after it's been pushing up recently, and it just looks like Spot are trying to chase up now. So I was kind of waiting to see if we wanted to come down and test this entity here at 1.54. It kind of looks like they're moving their orders up now. Doesn't mean we can't rotate back down, but certainly want to watch there. And again, just to highlight, very, very nice chart. Supply, demand, very, very easy. Just keep it very, very easy on these sort of assets. And then moving up to some of the others, I think Pepe, I think we mentioned Pepe on one of the lives the other week. But again, the overlays don't print too hard on Pepe at the minute, but the top levels are quite good, to be honest. So if you just keep an eye on those, when it is in these supply zones or bid zones, and obviously for an altcoin, the bigger the top level, the better. You really want these, you know, if you're getting a big top level, you want that to either fill or defend that level. Okay. Rune has been obviously trending. It trended up hard. I'm just going to go to Spot on Rune. Rune trended up really, really hard, obviously the other month, and was looking really, really good. I think it's doing the old consolidation, trend consolidation, and just to highlight, it's really, really hitting some demand zones again now, like triple bands. Okay, so people are bidding this. Whether you get a price movement 1% to 10% down, people are really, really bidding this. So it looks really, really nice. Rune hitting demand zones again. And I think even the 4 hour looks quite constructive on Rune as well, actually. So yeah, what's this trend? Oh, I've got a trend line there. What's that? Let's just have a cheeky little look at that while you guys are on. Yeah, you're really going to build some bull divs. If Rune clips down a little bit lower, you're just going to build some really nice bull divs. I don't know if you guys can see that. So nice move up here. Any rotations into this zone again, if you can, you know, if you can execute in this kind of like 7.1, 7.2 zone, is going to look really, really good. So yeah, and I think there's a few charts that look like this as well. Just while I'm here, and I can just eyeball it there. Sol trending very, very hard. Obviously a lot of meme activity going on with this chain. But yeah, really, really good. Trend, range, trend. Do we have to range a little bit here on Sol? Does it put in a little bit of a smaller range and get some continuation? Maybe. Let's just have a little pull of the old fixed range that I know everybody loves. Okay, so I'm just going to draw some lines here because this is basically now your range on Sol. Green, kind of green, sirs and madams. Okay, so that's now your range on Sol. Any rotations back down? Yeah, 175, 176 would be really, really nice if it's going to hold that zone. That's an if. I mean, it's got a long way to go to come back to its main trend line right back down there. It'd need an absolute nuke. So 176, 175-ish. Let's go and have a look at that on the old OBD if we can. Okay, so they're just smashing the POC there. Yeah, so 175 is your biggest limit order there, or biggest order block there at the minute. So that'd be really, really nice if we can get any kind of move down in the next 24 hours or so on Sol. I'd much prefer to kind of like do business down there than, you know, chase green candles. Don't ever do that in, you know, in these kind of conditions. You know, you're just kind of pushing up to this kind of resistance zone here. No real spot depth on Sol. Just be a little bit patient on some of these coins that are taking the time after consolidating for a little bit. Couple more altcoins to look at with you guys. Do give us a shout in the chat if there's any that I need to look at or any that I'm missing. Another one I wanted to look at, actually, I just want to go up a little bit. It's actually ARB. ARB has got a very, very nice order book on it at the minute. And again, just highlighting the fact that you've got all this demand waiting lower. Now, I'm not a fan of this coin. I'm not a fan of most of these assets as we go through them. It's just nice to highlight some of the potential plays that you may have in the coming 12, 24 hours. That's kind of what we want to do on this live stream, really, is review Bitcoin, review Ethereum, see what's going on. And then, it might just so happen that some of you guys are holding spot bags of some of this stuff. And we can look at levels together. Or if you're just trading derivatives, stuff like this, I would be more patient with assets like this. It's kind of trading in the middle of nowhere at the minute. Does it push up from here? Maybe. But yeah, I just want to highlight to you guys while we're on that, with stuff like this, when you're seeing a demand zone, especially from spot like this, I would certainly be, no alerts found. Why is that doing that? Let me just refresh that quickly. I would certainly be setting my alerts up on seeing this. Okay, so I've got no doubt, I don't think I have ARB in my alerts, but I've got no doubt if you had say spot double bands, I don't know why that's cleared. Okay, that's cleared. If you have spot double band alerts, I've got no doubt at all that this would be triggering here, and you've got a nice risk reward trade straight away from ARB there. Okay, so just some assets to look at. And just consider. Another one in the A's, not being lazy as I go from a watch list, Arkham. Okay, so something to consider here is, as it came down, you've got to really consider the wider market picture, and as it came down, let these guys fill, really let these guys fill. What you want to see is, now you want to see these kind of like spot levels really, like hold these areas or fill, and then it move up. You could easily come down and just come down onto this area and fill it. Another couple of assets. I don't know what's going on with Cake at the minute, and I saw this earlier. Maybe you guys know. Let us know in the chat if you do. But PancakeSwap is getting absolutely smashed to bits with supply. I'm just going to flick to a 4-hour quickly. Yeah, so it's kind of been trending. You could almost just say, yeah, it's doing the same as what other assets do, Sol, AVAX and the like, and it's now just going to form a little bit of a consolidation. Higher lows looking good, but like we'll see on a lot of alts, you've got lower highs also, so you're kind of coming into this triangle formation again. It's just interesting to see, wow, triple levels offers with almost double, triple band supply above it. Not often you'll see stuff like that. You quite often see when things start to consolidate like this, there'll be a certain amount of profit taken. Of course there is a certain amount of profit taken, take some money off the table, and then you hope to see when you visit those value areas in the lows again that people bid it back up. But yeah, I just thought this was very, very aggressive from Cake. Interesting one to see there. And actually a good risk reward short if the market was to turn in the coming hours, to be honest. Yeah, not bad. Other coins to keep an eye on, just as we scroll down the watch list. FET was an absolute beauty earlier on, so 5 a.m. my time, or in the towards the back end of the Asian session, so you almost got like this double bottom here, and this is a spot chart as well, just appreciate this is a USDT spot chart from Binance. You're in very, very big demand. Okay, you're coming down, you've got a top level in defense, very nice, and I know you kind of get these levels here, but if you've ever watched the live streams before or any of my videos, what you don't want to see from these top levels, you see how they're kind of moving down with price, so following price down, and then when you get to these kind of levels, this big fat one here is really, really static, and it's been there for ages. So as price bounces around here, this entity here with this level, these guys are just saying, no, this is where we want it, 2.5, this is where we want it, So it wicks down, fills their order, you get a double bottom, and away you go. Whether you're a fan of Fetch.ai or not, it's just a very nice chart. So yeah, even if you're just trading that on derivatives, worth having a look at. Another one, Phil. It's a real funny one, this asset, because the daily chart looked really, really good. Like a lot of altcoins have, obviously, kind of a year, 2 year long breakdown consolidation, and then they look like they're kind of breaking up, which is really, really nice. I don't know what narrative this coin's got to actually move, you know, everything that's going on in the market. But just to highlight again, demand zone, very nice bid as we come down. You don't particularly want to see that. You see the way it's just wicked that $9 level? You don't particularly want to see that. It wouldn't surprise me if this just gets a slight rotation down now, because it's just grabbed a load of liquidity up there. But just a really, really nice one to keep an eye on. Another one, again, that we mentioned the other week on the live, I think we did, was GAL. I think we were looking at GAL and ID together on the live. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but very, very nice chart. And you remember when we were looking at Bitcoin on the QCon chart? So I sometimes say that, you know, especially in a strong trending market, I'm not always up for kind of just ramping up and throwing, you know, full on shorts on the Bitcoin chart. But if you are up for hedging a position, I always like to put it on an altcoin, to be honest, because they always move a couple of % more. So maybe you take a little bit of profit on Bitcoin and you just wanted to hedge your position a bit. I actually quite like to hedge positions on alts, and especially when you see something like this, okay? So we saw from the KuCoin BTC chart, let me just go back to that quickly and then we'll jump back to this. I just want to show you this. So BTC in a supply zone, and up here you see, you know, just coming out of the Easter weekend, you see that Bitcoin is just hitting this zone. So yeah, BTC just hitting that supply zone. What I would then be doing is looking at some altcoins and saying, right, okay, so what altcoins are actually in supply as well? Because maybe you can just grab a couple more % from your derivatives trade. Gala, very, very nice there. So very, very nice. Massive, massive top level. I don't know what kind of volume that was at the time. Wasn't watching it, only saw this one today. Missed the trade, to be honest, but yeah, really, really nice. Capping the level, top level, you know, couple of % stop loss. Get your stop loss above these top levels here, and you know you're getting a really, really good trade. So you've got, I'm on a 15-minute chart here, so you've even got quite a bit of good time to execute there. So 2.5% risk if you've ever seen what we do here before. And away you go. Really, really nice. Could have had 10% out of that on your derivatives portfolio. So yeah, always look for something like that. I just wanted to highlight again what a nice chart it is, to be honest. You know, being a low liquidity altcoin, it does fake and fade some of these top levels. Be aware of that. But if you see something like that when the market is starting to take a little turn, don't ignore it. Okay. So that's GAL. I think another one I wanted to look at. Give me a shout in the chat if there's any more I need to have a look at. But ICP with some nice levels. I think it's having a little bit of a consolidation again, isn't it? But yeah, not looking too bad. Kind of diddling in the middle of nowhere. I'd rather ICP comes down and builds some bigger demand, to be honest. As we can see here, these supply zones have been very, very good. Quite difficult to execute, I would say, on a trade here if you just day trade an ICP. It does move well, but yeah, a little bit of a distance away from your top levels. The bid side is actually a little bit better there. Let's just quickly have a look at the 4 hour on ICP. I'm just interested to see where it is. Yeah, trending, nice. That was a nasty drop there, wasn't it? Yeah, probably a bit of consolidation. I mean, your lows are obviously going to be down here at that 17k mark, aren't they? So if you can get in anywhere down there, then great. Looks very, very drastic. You know, when you look at it, it's pushed up that high, especially when you're looking at a 4 hour chart, to look at this and go, really, I want to be bidding in here at that kind of 17 level. But it's quite easy, as we've seen on some of the overlay charts at the minute. You know, if you come down and you get a major top level with triple or double band spot overlays in there, you know, keep your risk very, very tight. 2.5% max for me personally, and sometimes you can get in even tighter. You know, on Bitcoin's long the other week when it was down at 61k, I think the risk there was like 1%, 1.5%, because the top levels were so tight. It was really, really good. Okay, so ICP, interesting one. I've got LTC written down on my little notepad. Yes, I have to have a notepad because I'm getting old. Yeah, LTC, interesting. A little bit of a messy chart at the minute. It does have a clean chart now and again. What I thought was interesting was the fact that basically it's kind of broke its trend, to be honest. Now I'm only talking about a lower time frame trend. The weekly and the daily on LTC still looks really, really good. My only concern is this. So if you just go to a 1 hour, it's obviously come from demand there, trending, high lows, high lows, high lows, high lows, break, fake out, come up, screw everyone over with a lower high, and then it's just done an absolute textbook back test there with a tiny bit of supply, and it's starting to roll over again. So the most you can expect, and again, I don't know why you would. I mean, I always keep an eye on LTC. It's kind of an old school thing I've got going. But yeah, an absolute classic backtest there. It wouldn't surprise me if it just kind of just had a little bit of a fair rotation down, to be honest, after breaking that zone. Let's just pull a little. This is not going to be valid at all, but yeah, I would still expect it to rotate down into this zone. You know, even come and fill some of these weak spaces again. That could be quite nice down in those 97 levels for a bit of confirmation, and then really you want to be going back up and claiming some of these support levels and gaining the trend again at the very least for LTC. But yeah, a bit of a boring asset. I'm sure it runs quite well with the rest of the market in the coming year or so. If Larry, I think, can get his sales team on it and push us a little bit further. I'm sure we still are in for a pretty good year. Right, let's go and have a look at what big boy Bitcoin is doing right now. Yeah, stalling a little bit in an obvious area. Interestingly, Gemini have got a little bit of supply there. I didn't really highlight Gemini earlier because I don't think they do too much in the way of volume to actually move the market the way that like Binance and Bybit do, obviously. But they are more often than not, I have to say, on the right side of them. Like Kraken and KuCoin as well. You know, these exchanges that maybe don't push as much volume in the market, they still do. They still tend to be on the right side of the market. So interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what we get here. But USDT, yeah, it's still pushing. As I say, if we are going to get confirmation that the BTC Diamond was it, if the BTC Diamond that we got back here was it, you know, we have genuinely come from good depth again. I'm being greedy saying that I would still like to come a little bit lower here and fill some of these orders. I still think we can do in the next 24, 48 hours or maybe a little bit longer. What, again, just to highlight, what do we look for if we are just going to push on? Basically, we need to look for the USDT levels to start following up. So these green limit orders, we want these to just follow up price. We want bid to follow up. Just, you know, like in the way Perps is here, get some of these top levels that you can see here starting to flow up and pushing for more orders. You call it dynamic, basically. Get this dynamic bid flowing, get them pushing up, and it could look pretty good. Right, guys, if you've got any questions, drop it in the chat. But I think we'll call it a day there today. Not too much to see. Don't chase green candles. Wait for a bit of more dynamic bidding if you have got no risk exposure at the minute. But I would also say don't be over eager in shorting this, to be honest, because it's not a bad move. And you know, if in doubt, what was your last signal? Your last signal, you've come from demand. You know, you've come from 830 million aggregated demand. I'm just being greedy, saying I'd prefer it near some of these top levels. But yeah, it's you know, it's not looking too bad, to be honest. Not too sure what the ETF flows have been yesterday, and obviously we'll have to see what they are today. I know people go on about those a lot. You can say what you want, but you know, the central exchanges obviously still have an impact, you know. Yeah, central exchanges still have a massive impact, and I would trust the data that we are seeing here from the Binance and the likes more than any kind of ETF flows, to be honest. That's more of a macro picture, you know. When you were coming down here in this lower end of the trend to the lows, the value area lows, everyone's still debating about Barry Silbert's GBTC sales and everything as we're hitting demand and bouncing, you know. So trust the data, to be honest. Just trust the data. So yeah, if you've got no questions, guys, we'll call it a day. If you are new, go grab yourself a free trial from the link below, and what we'll do is we might do I think we'll do a pop-up in the Discord, so very similar to like today, but more of a text chat. We'll do a pop-up in the TRDR Discord tomorrow, just to see if there's any more volatility, because it's a little bit of a steady day at the minute after the drop over the Easter weekend. A little bit of steady 24 hours. You've basically not moved in 48 hours here. Nice to see a little bit of volatility kick in now. But yeah, we'll do a little screen session in the Discord. If anyone's interested in that, join the Discord and drop in there. If you've got any questions, we can handle those in there very easily. All right, guys, we'll call it a day. Hope you have a great day. Speak soon.